Hey, Kevin Jennings is hurt. Kevin Jennings is hurt. He's got a finger thing. The world's about to fall apart. No. Kevin Jennings is going to be just fine. Everything's going to be good at SMU.
You are Locked On SMU, your daily podcast on the SMU Mustangs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Locked On SMU on this Friday edition of the show. My name is Grayson Singleton. Thank you so much for tapping in with us today. Our episode is brought to you by Kalshi. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code LOCKEDON to get $10 when you trade $10. Coming up on the show today as well, I'll give you my pick for where I think SMU is going to debut in the preseason poll, so make sure you stick around for that. Plus, we got news from the Protect College Sports Act. I promise you, even if you are tired of college football litigation, you're going to want to stay tuned for this one because this one's interesting to me. So we'll talk about that at the end of the show to close out the week. Again, I'm Grayson Singleton. Before we get going, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Help us get to our goal of 1,000 before the start of football season. And if you have already subscribed, click those post notifications. They help us as well as subscribing. So make sure you guys do all that. And let's talk some football because Kevin Jennings was expected to be limited for 1 to 2 weeks. Now sources are telling On3's Brett McMurphy that Kevin Jennings could return to throwing next week. Now, whether or not that source embellished the progression, the rapid progression of Kevin Jennings from a busted finger, that's kind of all I can really chalk it up to right now. The reality of the situation is that everything's going to be fine. I told you guys this at the beginning of the week, that everything's going to be fine. He's going to be limited for 1 to 2 weeks. You'll get a look at Ty Hawkins and whatnot, and everything's going to return to normal. Well, lo and behold, it seems like everything's returning to normal pretty quickly. And look, there's no downside to this. There was no downside to any of this once we learned that it was not much more than a badly jammed finger. It was going to be something that puts him on the shelf for a little bit, nothing debilitating, nothing that's going to put his availability for the opener against Florida State in any semblance of jeopardy, barring something unforeseen happening, right? So I feel like we now have a resolution to that side of it. But what this all is going to end up being is Kevin Jennings got a little bit of a break in the middle of fall camp. I mean, he was working, but not working. He was there, and he was still with the team. He was still doing his mental reps, but he kind of got off his feet a little bit less physical exertion. Got to be on the side, just still kind of gripping it a little bit, throwing it around a little bit, but not everything was full go. But it seems like the pain is starting to subside a little bit quicker. I'm guessing there's some swelling that went down really quick, and, the grip strength is back. I don't know all the specifics of what Kevin is feeling right now, but if I can read between the tea leaves and I hear progressing quicker from a busted finger than what we thought, we know the finger wasn't broken. It was reported by, I think, Leah Asimakopoulos that it was a badly jammed finger. So some swelling went down, pain went down pretty quick, and we're all good. I think at the end of the day, we just got to the destination we were going to get to a lot faster. There was never going to be a chance that Ty Hawkins started week 1 in Tallahassee at Florida State. That was not in the cards, right? So Kevin gets to get back on the field, and he took a little bit of a break. All right, cool. I mean, there's nothing, to me, there is nothing wrong here. You got to look at Ty Hawkins. Now, I haven't read any of the reports about what Ty Hawkins looked like. I haven't read them. I will go back and probably circle back to that over the weekend. But Kevin takes a couple of days off. He gets back to throwing next week. Maybe he participates in some good on goods by the end of next week. And he resumes building connections with the new guys like Jalen Hale and Yannick Smith. But he already got the connection with Ymir Knight. Go back to the tight ends as well. And everything picks up as normal. That's what I take from that. Brett McMurphy on On3 wrote in the article what he had been told by sources on on3.com. Go ahead and look it up. But it was a pretty short, to the point, and we're up out of there type of article. Translation: everything's going to be okay. Everything's fine. And everything is even more fine quicker than we thought it was going to be that fine. So I think this is an okay thing for Kevin Jennings and an okay thing for SMU. You got the best of both worlds. On the one hand, we did get an unexpected look at Ty Hawkins. Now, what the returns on that were, we'll see. But we got an unexpected look at Ty Hawkins. Ty Hawkins got an unexpected chance to be able to lead the ones and captain the ones. And I don't know what all they did. I don't know if they scrimmaged. I don't know if they were doing 7-on-7, if they did good on goods during that time where Ty was commanding the first team. I don't know. But Ty got to do something a little bit unexpected. And Kevin Jennings, who was banged up a lot of last year, got to get off his feet a little bit. Take some mental reps, still be engaged, basically be on vacation while you're still at work. I know I'm being tongue-in-cheek with that. I'm well aware of that. I'm purposefully doing it. But he got to get off his feet a little bit, less physical exertion, a little bit more recovery on the lower extremities of the body. I think SMU, Kevin, Ty, everybody kind of got the best of both worlds here. And then he's back quicker than expected. By the time he gets back, he will have 3 weeks to work with the ones until you have the opener against Florida State. 3 weeks is ample time. That's ample time in a system that he already knows, for a program that he's been in for 5 years. Now with this year counting, he'll be just fine. He'll be just fine. The offense will be just fine. The operation will be just fine. Everything's going to be good. Everything's going to be good. And probably in about, let's just call it 8 to 10 days from now, everything will be back to normal. I don't think there's any reason to hang on to some sort of, bad implication that there might be some hangover going into the season. Now, I mean, knock on wood, which I just did on this table that I'm recording on. But I mean, knock on wood, he doesn't hit his hand on somebody, on a pass rusher's or an offensive lineman's helmet or something like that, right? But I don't think there's going to be any kind of, oops, we got to make sure that hand stays good the rest of the year. Like I think this is something that's going to heal and go away. If anything new happens, God forbid, it would be something totally unrelated. So, progressing faster than he should, got to get off his feet. You got to look at Ty Hawkins. He got to look at things from a different angle than he otherwise was. I think that can never be misconstrued as a bad thing either. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with how this ended up. It was always going to end up in a favorable spot. We just got to that place quicker. Got to take a little bit of a vacation at work. Nothing to be mad about from that perspective for me at all. Nothing one bit. I'm cool with how all of this played out. All right, coming up next, Locked On SMU. Where do I think SMU will fall in the preseason AP poll? I got some reasons for why I think certain things. I'll tell you about them on the other side. Keep it here on Locked On SMU. Just getting started. Support for today's episode comes from Indeed Sponsored Jobs. When workplace chaos hits and you need the right hire, Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps connect employers with candidates who match specific needs like skills, certifications, and location. So less time gets spent searching and more time gets spent finding the right fit. People are finding quality hires on Indeed right now. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. And Indeed can help you with having somebody who knows exactly what needs to happen at the right time and can help things run smoother. Look at any champion right now, or even look at the trade deadline around Major League Baseball. You've seen numerous teams add players. Luis Castillo has been great for the Chicago Cubs as they make their push to be one of the challengers for the Los Angeles Dodgers in the National League. And Luis Castillo for the Cubs has just fit right in and continued to pitch well, backing up why they got him. Spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire. This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Let me tell you about Poncho as well. If you're like me and you basically live in game day gear during football season, you're going to want to check out Poncho's new game day collection. It's one of those things where it's a performance shirt, but it doesn't look like a performance shirt, just looks clean, sharp, and something you'd actually want to wear all day. And you get to rep SMU in style, and it's a good fit for a bunch of different stuff. It's built for real life, super lightweight, breathable, and comfortable enough that you can throw it on for a full day of tailgating, sitting in the stadium, or just chilling, watching the game with friends without ever feeling like you need to change. And what I really like is that you're not stuck with a one-size-fits-all situation either. You can dial in the fit with regular, slim, or tall, plus short or long sleeves. And if you grab your team's shirt between August 2nd and August 16th, you're covered by Poncho's Natty Back Guarantee. If your team wins the college football national championship, Poncho gives you a full refund on your purchase. Plus, you get to keep the shirt as well. Man, and I love to go outside, and it's hot at this time at the beginning of the year. My lightweight Poncho shirt that's a little bit loose to allow some breathability and some comfort so I don't sweat through it and embarrass myself. That's a big, big deal. Plus, it's still heavy duty enough in a weird way that I'm not going to freeze to death when it gets cooler as well. So it just fits every season for every activity. Go to ponchooutdoors.com/lockedon and enter your email to get $10 off and free shipping on your first order. That's Poncho, Poncho, outdoors.com/lockedon. Head there, drop in your email, get $10 off plus free shipping. And once you try one, you'll understand why I've got a closet full of Poncho. All right, back here on the show, Locked On SMU. Appreciate you guys making us your first listen of the day and for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. I'm Grayson Singleton. Glad y'all are joining me here. Okay, let's talk AP poll. Preseason AP poll comes out on Monday. So our Monday show will come out before the preseason poll is released, but we won't do a reaction probably with my schedule until Tuesday's episode. So make sure you guys tap in for both of those as well. So where do I think SMU is going to debut in 2026? I think Florida State will be hosting the 17th ranked SMU Mustangs. Now, I've been telling you about 16 to 21 is where I could see them. I'm now in the opinion of 16 to 19, and I'm gonna range on the high side of that. I think SMU is going to be the 17th ranked team in the preseason AP poll. There's a couple of reasons why I think that. Number one, I'm kind of taking the averages of what I've seen floating around different media members, some of whom have votes and some of them who do not. And I've seen SMU no lower than 21, and I've seen SMU the highest at 16. That's where Brett McMurphy had when he released his preseason poll yesterday. So I see them no higher than 16, no lower than 21. So I've got the range pretty good. I'm also looking at the teams around and some of the teams that have been placed ahead of them, most notably and kind of weirdly Penn State. Now, Penn State was a 6-6 team, fired its coach, hired Iowa State's coach, and naturally, Matt Campbell rebuilt that program through the portal to have a functional roster, and a lot of it is, some Iowa State dudes. I don't think that warrants Penn State being in the top 20. So when I look at some of the teams that have been perpetually ahead of them, Penn State, one of them, I look at that and I say, nah, that don't look right to me. Now, does Penn State's allure and reputation and tradition win out? Maybe it does. Maybe that does over at SMU, which you would certainly have an argument to that side. But I look at a Penn State and I say, no, not you. Houston, a team coming off of 10 wins last year, has been a team that I've seen ahead of SMU. I don't buy Houston all that much, not that highly at least. Good football team. I think they'll compete in a wide open Big 12, but I think SMU's better. And put a pin in that because I'm about to come back to that in just a second. If you look at the final AP poll from last year, SMU was the third team out behind Illinois, who was the first team out, and Washington. Now, I don't even expect those two teams to even begin in the AP poll. Maybe Washington does. Washington will. I take that back. Washington will. Illinois, I don't think. But if you look at the other teams that are ahead of SMU in the final AP poll from last year, you have a TCU team that will not be ranked, a Notre Dame and Navy team that will not be ranked. You have James Madison and Tulane, both of whom lost their coaches, will not be ranked. Virginia finished at 16, will not be ranked. Iowa finished at 17, will not be ranked any higher than 23 because that's just where Iowa is prone to start every season. Utah might be due for a step back, but I don't think it'll be lower than SMU. It could be lower than SMU. Very well could be. And we'll see about Vanderbilt, who finished at 16. So I just named right there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 for sure that I think from last year to this year, okay, exclude Houston from that, so 10, from 2025 to 2026 got worse. A lot of those teams, TCU got worse, North Texas got worse, Navy got worse, James Madison got worse, Tulane got worse, Iowa, they're not going to start that high. Virginia definitely got worse. I would say Vanderbilt probably got worse, and Utah definitely got worse, losing their coach, and they were a very old team. Meanwhile, SMU got better. SMU had a great transfer portal haul. They seem to have fixed their ailing weakness, and where they were good got better with age. Excellent left tackle, excellent quarterback, both of whom are coming back once again. That means something. They got better at wide receiver, a unit that they were pretty good at. They got better at running back. They got probably the most coveted transfer portal running back out of the ACC. Well, I guess not, except Hollywood Smothers, who went to Texas. And they fixed their problem on defense. Now, they've had to flip their defensive line, but I think they did a solid job doing that. They are projected to have gotten better. And if you look at just simple math, and they've gotten better, and a lot of the teams that finished behind there, because remember, these things are trendy, and that includes the season prior. The teams that finished above them in the last AP poll, about half of them will not be ranked. Virginia will not be ranked. Tulane will not be ranked. James Madison won't be ranked. Neither will Navy, North Texas, or TCU. If I can see a jump from 20, that would be 28 all the way to 17, there's the math right there. There's the math right there. Utah will be ranked. I don't think they will be ranked ahead of SMU. They just lost too much, and their coach. So I look at it from that perspective, and the math checks out. The offseason backs it up. The way they finished last year backs it up. And everything around them makes it make sense. I think they're going to start this year as probably the 17th best team in the country. If I had to put some money on it, it'll be 17. I do not think it will be any lower than 19, and I don't think it'll be any higher than 16. Because I think you've got your top 10, and BYU is going to be up there, Oklahoma's going to be up there, Michigan's going to be up there, USC is going to be up there. That'll likely take care of most of your top 15. I don't think SMU cracks that top 15. I think 17 is where they are when we get the AP preseason poll on Monday at 11 o'clock. What you guys think? Let me know. Where do you think SMU is going to fare? What do you think about what I just laid out to you? Let me know in the comments down below. Would love to hear from you guys as always. Coming up next. All right. There's news from the Protect College Sports Act because one senator has proposed an amendment that could shake up college football and SMU. I'll tell you about that to close up the show next. Before the season even kicks off, everyone's making predictions. Who wins the division? Who makes the playoffs? Who's lifting the trophy at season's end? And on Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you can trade those predictions in a live market. Look at the NFL, for instance, or even college football. Who's going to win the national championship? Well, if you think it's Notre Dame has a 13% chance to win the national championship. So you want to trade $100? That'll net you potentially $725, taking advantage of that 13% chance that Notre Dame has. You should try it. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in or out of your position. Trade the draft pick, the game, and more on Kalshi. Download the Kalshi app and use code LOCKEDON to get $10 when you trade $10. Kalshi. That's Kalshi. Trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Kalshi products are not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. Running a business shouldn't feel like you're trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never designed to work together. You got one app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales, and somehow none of them talk to each other. That's where Odoo comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform. From sales and accounting to inventory and marketing, everything works in one place, helping your team move faster, stay organized, and focus on growing the business instead of managing software. The best organizations know that success isn't just about talent. It's about having everyone working together toward the same goal, and that's true in sports just as it is in business. And I look at what the Boston Red Sox are doing. They finally got the right team together. They got the old coaching regime out. The new manager with Chad Tracy and his staff is doing a bang-up job leading the Red Sox back this season. And then they went out, the front office went out and got them Adley Rutschman from the rival Baltimore Orioles. The Red Sox now are working in the same direction. We'll see if it pays off come postseason time. Great organizations win because operations matter, and that's why you should get Odoo. Try for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's Odoo, odoo.com/lockedon. All right, one more segment here on Locked On SMU. Appreciate you guys giving us part of your time. A lot of choices out there. Glad you guys are rocking with me to close out your week on this Friday. Okay, so news from the Protect College Sports Act. And I'm glad you stuck around for this because this is not boring. This is very interesting stuff that I found. They talked about this on the ACC squad in this week's episode. I was not on the squad, so I want to talk about this. Ashley Moody, Republican senator from Florida, proposed an amendment that would allow schools to seek a home in another conference that would trigger the 5-year probation provision otherwise. If this amendment is added to the bill, as soon as it is signed into law by the president, once that happens, if it happens, that starts a clock of 180 days, basically 6 months, to change conferences without triggering the probationary penalty. So let's back up for a second before I get into this take. As currently constructed, if you change conferences, this is aimed to kind of curb conference realignment. As presently constructed, if you change conferences, you are under a probationary period for 5 years. What that probationary entails, not really important right now. But Senator Moody is basically saying you get 180 days from the passage of this bill. You get 180 days to transfer conferences. And then you can do it without triggering the probationary period. You get 6 months. I don't know if I like this or dislike it, and I'm going to lead on the side of liking it. Here's why. It seems as if that goes, there's one hurdle that's clear, by the way. I'll get to that in a second. But if this goes through, it gets us to kind of where I want college football. It gets us likely another step because a lot of schools in the ACC and the Big 12 are going to panic. And they're going to flock to either the SEC or the Big 10 and make a Power 2 league. At that point, the names SEC and Big 10 won't really mean anything. They will mean nothing more than AFC and NFC. That's how we are going to proceed in college athletics. And I got to say, I don't mind that one bit. I don't. In my perfect world, I would reorganize college football into 4 conferences with the exact same number of teams. It helps with scheduling and it helps with playoff selection. Now, I'm not going to go into too deep about that, but essentially what I'm getting at is if we can make this more organizationally like the NFL, our lives get a lot easier. And if this amendment goes through, I feel like sneakily that kind of pushes us in that direction. Let's face it here. If you can run scheduling and playoff selection and playoff bids through 2 major conferences, and you'll likely split those into divisions in a common sense world, then we get away from all the bickering between the Big Ten and the SEC and the Big 12 and the ACC. We get away from all that nonsense. We could essentially basically say we do a tournament for each conference, and each conference's winner plays for the national championship. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't say I hate that. I can't say it one bit. Now, is this in a perfectly executed scenario? Yes. Do I trust common sense to win out with anything having to do with college athletics? Hell to the absolute no. I 100% don't. If this happens, more chaos will ensue. I'm telling you that's going to happen. But can a guy not dare to dream and say that, all right, if I'm going to give everybody 6 months to go find a new home in a conference, and we can settle this thing all out, we can push this toward maybe just a 2-power conference league. I can't say that's the worst thing in the world if executed effectively. Now, here's the thing. There's a couple of hoops you have to cross. One would be legislative. That one would be, okay, does that override the other provision in the Protect College Sports Act that says no league can expand beyond 19 members? That would be one hurdle, because that also is in the exact same bill. So can different parts of the bill contradict each other? That'll be interesting. Likely what would happen if it doesn't contradict that and you still cap the conferences at 19, likely that would basically mean adding more teams from the group of 5 up to the Power 4. And I guess maybe the Power 5 with the resurrection of the Pac-12. But that's more likely what that would do. The other thing is this. If teams want to willy-nilly leave, they would have to pay a buyout to leave the conference. So, for instance, in an article from Yahoo Sports, they mentioned Florida State. Currently, if Florida State wanted to leave the ACC, it would have to notify the league office in writing on or before June 1st of the preceding year to receive permission to leave the conference on June 30th of the next year. The cost for leaving the ACC for Florida State would be $129 million for a school that currently, as we have led to believe, is still too broke to fire a coach that they should have fired 2 years ago. So there you have that other complicating factor as well. All that to say, would this amendment nudge us in a direction that I don't mind? Yes. What are the odds that we actually get to that point? Very, very, very slim. Very slim. But I like the idea of it. I like the ability to dream of it. Hopefully you guys didn't hear that car just whizzing by my apartment window at 80 miles an hour on a 40 mile an hour speed zone. But all that to say again, I don't mind it in theory. I just don't trust college sports nowadays to carry anything out with any semblance of common sense. I just don't. But here we are. I do wonder, by the way, if the Protect College Sports Act is going to go through before the end of the calendar year. We shall see. All right, that'll do it for this week's edition, this week's shows of Locked On SMU. Appreciate you guys tapping in with me all week long as well. For all you everydayers, love you guys. Appreciate all you guys that are tapping as well. Hope to see you guys back next week as well. I'm Grayson Singleton. Hey, for our second listen of the day, make sure you check out Locked On College Basketball on audio and on YouTube. make sure you check out our 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. If you haven't seen it already, go back to Wednesday's episode, when we talked to wide receivers coach Rob Likens for SMU as well. Talk to you guys on Monday. We'll see you, everybody.